Hey, welcome to another episode of Cheechable LIVN. I'm your host, Cheech, and today we are going to talk all about the origin story of Cheechable. So join us as I share a little bit about myself as a creator and how we even got here in the first place. I first got into media production. I think my very first piece was when I was in kindergarten, and I had to make my own character for a school play, and I made a dragon out of a paper bag. So, I was really tiny and I fit into this bag, but I really liked performing, and so I really dedicated my life to just learning music from a really young age. And just by learning music, playing all sorts of different instruments, and also singing, I just really connected with what it looks like to interact with an audience, but then just really kind of experimenting with my own self as a creator and a performer. And then when I was a little bit older, got into actual professional creative production. So I was an actor and a model in catalog shoots and commercials and even live events. And so that just really kind of exposed me to what a crew does, all of the work that goes into some of the things that we see on TV or read in magazines. And around that same time, I got really into making my own commercials and soap operas on tape. So this was back in the day where you'd have a little cassette player and you could press record on it. And I would do anything from the local pizza restaurant to like really smarmy characters on soap operas. And that just really sparked my love for creative production and media production. Fast forward to 2017, there was this major eclipse here in Oregon. I was already, well into my professional practice with design and producing marketing and creative projects. And I was really just looking for an outlet for my own creativity. I spent so much of my creative efforts and creative talents producing work for other people, but I didn't really have my own personal practice. And so during that eclipse, it kind of became that pivotal moment where Cheechable was born. It was an opportunity to have a space to create, but also experiment and bring other people together and just share our talents and visions that we had for creating a different world or alternative lifestyles, and really just kind of leaning into that without any consequences. We started Cheechable LIVN about 5 years ago. It was called Sesh Recordings back in the day, and it was really kind of a cool configuration where we would have different guests on the show, and we only had one POV, which was straight down on a coffee table, and so you could see what we were looking at, and you could also see what we were eating, drinking, smoking, so we were able to feature a bunch of different products and projects in kind of a unique perspective. I think I draw a lot of inspiration from my creative peers. So, for the past 20 years, I've been involved with an array of media productions, from feature films to shorts to web series. I've worked in motion graphics, animation, you know, even doing some like claymation things, stop motion, that kind of thing. And so really doing a variety show, when we got the opportunity to work with public access and have a broadcast studio, it kind of really opened up that world to create Cheechable LIVN and create a really cool variety show that, you know, we could showcase our creative peers, and then also in the same vein of experimentation, we could work with animations and just some different things conceptually. And again, it's pretty low risk, but high concept. So I think when I think about that origin story and like what inspires me, I just I keep revisiting that just to make sure that we're still hitting that mark of, you know, creating community and really fostering experimentation in the creative space. Woo! What does the future hold for Cheechable? Oh my gosh, I am so freaking excited about the future always, because it's literally open, right? It can happen any way we can imagine. And so I get really excited when I think about the future. One, we're expanding. We're going to be bi-coastal. That's amazing, right? So that's something that I really, I wanted to be expansive, and it's just a really cool thing when it starts to happen, and you have all of these fantastic folks that are on board. So that's a really exciting thing that's coming up. We have more supporters. We have more people that are just joining this community. We're able to have more impact. So that's another thing that's coming up, is that we are working towards having nonprofit status in the next year. So that's going to open up some major doors for us as a production, but also us as a community at large. We can really start to support each other, support projects, and just keep stoking that fire. So I just want to extend so much gratitude to every single person who has supported Cheechable and our brand new show, Cheechable LIVN. Everybody from, a volunteer for an hour or two, or my co-creators, and everybody that's just been so supportive. We want to give a super special shout out to ProTime Lawn Seed, because they really did just believe in us and help us kind of achieve some of those technical things that would have been a barrier without their support. So yeah, just from the bottom of my heart, and everybody that works on this show, just big gratitude to everybody and your support. So thank you so much. Hi everyone, welcome back to Art on Earth. Whether you work in clay, charcoal, or ink, well, save it, because today we're painting self-portraits. Sorry, I've been a little off since my sudden death and time in the underworld. I really don't know where or what I am. Okay, we're working in acrylic paints today, and even if you're new to self-portraiture, you'll pick up the basic steps to put you on the canvas, in paints forever. So you'll need a variety of brushes. We've got choice ones here for different amounts of detail or coverage, your palette of colors, gesso for priming your canvas, and of course, your canvas. Now for your canvas, you can use cotton or linen. I'm using a shroud. Some shops may even have hemp-based fabrics if you live in the 1700s. When we paint ourselves, we want to capture not only what we can see with our eyes, but what we feel inside. If you reflect in a mirror, great, set one up near your canvas. Otherwise, have a familiar take a picture of you for your reference. So let's get into it. I'm burning to get paint on the canvas. Our first step will be to grab our thin brush and sketch an outline. So I just have a little bit of white here, and we're going to just block off the basic shapes for our composition. I did our canvas in blue just so there would be a nice contrast for us. So we've got our forehead, our eyes, nose, and then we'll use a medium brush to block out the basic shapes using color to map out light and shadow. I'm just gonna mix up some colors here because one of my favorite features about myself is my hair, and so I just want to make a cool little color that matches. Does that match? All right, so we have our face kind of blocked out here, and then I'm just gonna go in with our different brush and start to make that hair. Look at how curly it is. And if you have curly hair, you can kind of make things a little swirlier. If you have straight hair, just try to find those nice waves and natural features that really show people, who you are and all of your beautiful features. Make sure to keep on checking your mirror so you can get those proportions straight. And don't worry if it's just a little bit off at the very beginning, because you'll be able to keep on refining and refining your composition. So here's a little bit of color theory. If we have opposite colors, like this little purple here and some yellow, we start to get a brown color, right? And then we can add a little more white, and this we can start to see, I don't know, I guess this kind of matches my skin tone a little bit more. You can really work that. So if you have a darker skin tone, you might want to add a little more purple, or if you have more warmth in your complexion, you can add some more yellow. But I think this kind of matches the makeup I use already, so I'm just gonna go with this. And I'm gonna get in here, and since we already have our guidelines for our features, I'm just going to kind of daub on in spaces that are really going to be represented by those highlights, right? So here we've got the cheeks, the chin, the nose, and the brow. Do you see how those lines are starting to disappear? Again, we're just going where our highlights are. And here's for the fun part. I like to wear a red lipstick, right? So I'm just going to add a little bit of that red right into my skin tone, and we're just gonna get those lips represented. And this doesn't have to be photorealistic. You can really go abstract. We're looking for uniqueness, not necessarily photorealistic representation. So, so make sure you have your water on hand so you can clean your brushes in between. So now we're starting to really build this up. We want to take our purple and get that back into our skin tone. We can dip in and grab a little bit more of that white and our skin tone, maybe add a little more yellow. Our goal here is we're starting to build the shadows, right? So we want it just a little bit darker than our skin tone, but like not totally purple. Cool. All right, so this is a nice little dynamic piece here. We're gonna just pop that in the eye sockets, right? Give it a little bit of depth, and then we can start to get some of those features defined. Look at that. Starting to look a little like me. All right. You're gonna get some eyebrows on there, so I might just use this purple in a heavier way. You see that? Ugh. Get a couple nostrils in there. Boop. And then I'm gonna do a little brush for our eyeballs. And then paint over that to make some eyelids. We still want to make it kind of shadowy where the eyelids are going to go. So you just want to pay attention to how the light is hitting your eyes, your mouth, or any protruding fangs, your nose, and other details. All right, and again, my favorite feature is my bodacious hair. So I think I'm going to put a lot more on my head and just get really thick and swirly with that. See how the underpainting really helps guide you, and it really doesn't matter if you are, you know, super accurate at first, because you can keep on building, and, you know, pretty soon you don't even see any of that stuff that was kind of bugging you before, or maybe it didn't make sense, but now it does. And here's where you can start to add some of those different features, right? Like your neck. You could add your neck if you want to, or you can have your head floating around. This is your self-portrait, so you know you really have carte blanche on everything that you can put on here. And I like to always just kind of exaggerate things, you know, not just for dramatic effect, but then you can really just kind of take them down as needed and have a more accurate representation. So Now I'm going to work on some accessories like my little scarf. I like to just note how it kind of falls. You know, it has a little organic shape to it. And again, it's okay if it's not super accurate. We're just looking for the best representation, right? Representational things, sometimes they read better than, you know, your hyper accurate components. So that's up to you as the artist to really determine what you want to show, what story you are telling. And I'm going to add my sweet beret. And now it's really starting to look a lot like me. So just keep adding, Complement your stunning self with an appropriate background. Place yourself in a sunny park or the forbidden woods at night. I'll be enveloped in the blood-red fog of Urkula, but just have fun with it. Okay, let's just do some final details. Oh, I don't remember painting myself like that, but sometimes what's inside creeps out, right?
Yeah, I feel ready to spread art all over the earth and beyond. See you next time.
Symposium here in Portland, Oregon. Thank you to the Portland Psychedelic Society for bringing all these cool practitioners and educators to our city. So let's go see what's going on.
Honored, lucky to be here as your moderator of a panel to talk about what is it? A container is the way that increasingly policy and outfitters feel to me. How do you create containers for folks to do their best work to apply?
Unlike church, where the focus is focused on a pastor or God, here
probably every single one of us could be up on stage talking about something.
Well, hello everyone. My name is Aaron Heisen, and I am a health scientist and biobehavioral researcher at Oregon Health and Science University. Now, you may notice that my title, health scientist and biobehavioral researcher, are fairly broad. Hello, everybody.
studium while I am a physician and I'm a medical geographer, and I'm a member of the Sacred Garden community. I hail from Oklahoma. I'm a child of Indian immigrants, and I live today in Seattle, which rests on the unceded territory of the Coast Salish to Amish people. I'm so honored to join you here in Portland.
I guess if I were clairvoyant and could predict the future or have answers to everything, I would push the practice a little harder than I do. I know that we are considered edgy. I think people think that I'm an edgy person. And I would say that's true. You know, I like to think of things, I like to push things a little bit, but if I could really predict the future, I think I would push things even harder. I would like to, you know, it'd be great if I could write a really radical manifesto and understand the immediate consequences of that, you know. Good and bad, right? Like, okay, maybe some actions or actors do get called out, but like, does that create lasting change? Does that create structures of liberation for people who, you know, are honestly just tired of having to fight? You know, I think that's where we are right now, is we have a lot of polarizing opportunities throughout, I mean, this American life, but I think throughout the world and humanity, we're looking at a lot of polarity, but I think where we're really at is just, you know, there's people who have had to be strong and they keep on having to be strong, and it's at the hands of, you know, some really weak-willed and weak-minded people. And so how do we shift that paradigm? How do we really create liberation for all? And, you know, how can we make it be fun, be exciting and inspiring to the next generation? The next generation shouldn't have to fight the last generation. The last generation needs to be supporting what the next generation is walking into, you know. And if we can really get into that flow, that's something I would love to encourage without a lot of consequence.